It's just Can you put
Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Rome Board of Education. The date is May 5th, 2022. The time is 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of regular meetings of April 7th, 2022 and April 19th, 2022.
Second.
Sorry, by Mr. Malachi. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I'm going to abstain from April 7th because I wasn't here.
Yeah, I wasn't here either.
Okay,
And I will vote in favor of the
2 abstentions for April 7th and
subsequent one.
all approvals for the 19th. Now we go to any additions or deletions, agent.
One change to the agenda on page 7, item number 4 in finance. Should read that the contract be renewed for the 2022-23 term, not be awarded as follows. In the resolution, renewed for the 22-23 term. So it should be just like this. And that is it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, report of superintendent of schools.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm only slightly hurt that you all didn't come for my budget presentation, but my feelings will get better next hour, I'm sure. If you missed the budget hearing and want to see it, it will be on our YouTube channel and on the district website tomorrow. To the first order of business, everyone's most pressing concerns right now, the stadium. The stadium is okay. It will be open for graduation. It could be open sooner. So folks are aware, at the track meet last week, a hole developed in the concrete walkway at the very base of the stadium where most foot traffic gets. So in order to make sure that the facility is safe for people, we shut it down for right now. We've had our structural engineer in there. We just have to do some shoring up of that walkway, replace some concrete, and then we're also going to inspect every square inch of the bleacher area just to make sure there's no weak spots in the concrete before we put people back in it. But if there are weak spots, we have been assured that we can get it shored up and repaired and ready to go. So graduation is going to be fine. The stadium will be good for at least a few more years with the simple supports that we're going to put into place currently. But the long-term plan, the long-term prognosis is still undetermined. I can say, for those that didn't pay attention in March, there is $1 million within the most recent referendum that was voted on dedicated to the stadium. And that $1 million is meant to replace all of the bleacher seating, repair all of the concrete that's in the bleacher seating area, and then waterproof membrane the entire outside so we can then repair the inside that is currently damaged due to moisture and mold from the cracking of the concrete. So it's a plan in the works. Everybody can stop panicking. Kara, write a good story, please. We're going to be okay. Graduation is on. But thank you all for your concern. If we could just roll down to Home Depot and buy what we need and fix stuff tomorrow, we would do it. But the laws prohibit that. So anyway, stadium will be good. Thank you all for your concern. Second, little positive for the district. I'm happy to report for the first time in many, many years, the district is not on the state comptroller's fiscal stress list. It's the first time in a long time Rome has not been on that list. One can say that could be due to COVID. However, I will say there are still just as many school districts on it currently that there are usually, and there are school districts that are new to the fiscal stress list, so I would say COVID maybe helped us with that a little bit, but clearly it's not the only reason. So again, thank you to our teachers, our administrators, our support staff, business office, everybody that has played a part in making sure that we are being better with our money and we are no longer on that list. So congratulations to the entire community and district. Third, for those interested, May 19th to the 21st, Stroud Musical Matilda will be happening at Stroud. So look forward to seeing you all there. That is May 19th through the 21st. And we don't have a meeting on the 19th because it's the 18th. So board members, you can go all 3 nights if you want. Fourth, I want to send a huge shout out to our entire counseling social work department, their director, Amanda Jones, and everybody associated with that. We had some publication about this earlier this week. The Rome City School District was named, nominated as one of 3 districts in the entire state for the recognition of what is great in New York State for the New York State Office of Mental Health for what we do for our children and our families. So tremendous honor to be one of only 3 districts nominated statewide. Total in the school category, there's, I think, 14 nominees, but those nominees include individual schools, individual people, departments. We were one of only 3 entire districts to get nominated. So congratulations to everybody. First and foremost, the counselors, social workers, that department, they're the front line, but every other person involved in our school district, teachers, support staff, clerical, custodial, bus drivers, administration, everybody plays a part in making sure our students' mental health is supported. And so thank you to everybody. That is a pretty good recognition. Just to be nominated is huge. So thank you to everybody and congratulations. And last but not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to our teachers. This is, you might know, is Teacher Recognition Week, Teacher Appreciation Week. Our schools have been doing things for our teachers all throughout the week. We're fortunate enough to have a board meeting during that time. Obviously, we all know our faculty in Rome is phenomenal. They work tirelessly every day to make sure our students have not just the education they need, but any life skill, any skill they need at home, any skill they need in general to make sure they're successful and they can come to school prepared to learn each and every day. Beyond just our teaching faculty, though, as I already mentioned, it takes a team. It's a large effort. So in Rome, I consider everybody to be a teacher, right down to those of you in the room. It's not done simply by the classroom teacher, but you have a lot of support team members that are with kids every day, supporting kids, talking to kids, whether it be parents, friends of the parents, friends of the kids. We're all teachers in one way, shape, or form. So for Teacher Appreciation Week, I first and foremost thank our faculty for everything they do every day. They are amazing individuals. The past few years, including this year, even without COVID, it's not been easy for a lot of our faculty. But we continue to persevere. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the work that our teachers do. And with that, I turn it back to you, sir.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mr. Blake. Our student board member is not here tonight. She's playing goalie for the lacrosse team, so she's excused. So we will not have a student board member report. And brings us to the public comment portion. At this point, the meeting is open for public comment. If you wish to speak and have not already done so, please complete a comment card with Mrs. Berman. This is an opportunity to appear before the school board and express your views concerning agenda items and district affairs. We ask that you limit your remarks to 5 minutes. All public speakers are asked to refrain from making personal attacks toward district employees and elected officials. Be advised that your comments do not enjoy the same privilege and immunity as statements made by members of the Rome Board of Education. That defamatory or obscene statements are prohibited. Please note that unless specifically indicated on the agenda, this time is not a question and answer period. There's no exchange of conversation with the members of the board or executive staff. However, if your comments require a response, every effort will be made to respond to your inquiry within a reasonable time frame. Thank you for your cooperation. And our first speaker is Roberto Angelicola. Where do you want me?
You go to the podium.
Podium, please. And Rob, I can't give you an extra 5 minutes. I'm sorry. If you want to talk tomorrow or something, we can start up something.
Nick is signed up and he'll take my
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Okay. Before I start, I just want to thank the school board, as I always do, for your work. I know it's not easy, and I appreciate the work that you do. It's very important. So good evening. My name is Robert Angelicola. I'm the owner of ROI Office Interiors headquartered here in Rome. My wife Lynn and I started this business 27 years ago. We're lifelong Romans and attended Rome schools, as did all of our siblings, children, and parents, except for my parents who immigrated to this country from Italy. We have very strong and long history here. First, I would like to familiarize you with the RFP I'm here to discuss, because I believe there are some general misconceptions about it. This is the title of the RFP. furniture, fixtures, and equipment consultant services for district-wide projects. Not furniture, not product. That is not part of this RFP. ROI provides as our main business activity furniture, but we also provide free services to all of our customers. In fact, we provide every service in the RFP for free. That's beside the point right now. I'm disappointed that you've chosen to spend taxpayer money on services that are typically free, but that's a decision that you've made. I would like to review the scope of work and the description of the proposal. From the opening paragraph, Rome City School District is requesting proposals from qualified professional firms capable of providing consulting services in fixtures, furniture, and equipment planning. There it is again in the first paragraph, made very clear that this is a consultant services RFP, not a furniture RFP. I don't know where that came from, frankly. From the scope of work, 2.5D, the consultant will work collaboratively with the purchasing department to ensure purchase of goods and services is conducted in accordance with procedures set by the district and the New York State Department of Education. That means oversight of the furniture vendor. 2.6B, the consultant will coordinate with the district to determine a list of furniture vendors. This consultant is going to say, these are the people you should be looking at for your furniture. I don't think it meant that they would say, we're the person you should be looking at for your furniture. We, the consultant. The consultant will review vendor bids. Nowhere in this RFP is furniture product included. The RFP is for consultant services only, but what's very clear is that whichever consultant is awarded this project, they will be responsible for oversight as an independent partner to be sure that the furniture vendor is acting in the best interest of the school district. Rob Meza and Dave Dreidel have made it clear, both verbally and in an email, that they are planning to purchase the furniture from the paid consultant. I ask you, how can a consultant provide proper oversight when they are providing and profiting from the furniture? It makes absolutely no sense and it's indefensible. This is a clear conflict of interest. We didn't submit, this has been said to me 5 times at least, we didn't submit a proposal for these paid consulting services because our main business activity is furniture. And no one, not a single person I spoke to, not a school board member from other districts, not a procurement professional, not a state official, believed that the district or the Board of Education would allow a consultant to recommend themselves as the furniture vendor and to oversee their own activities. It's a blatant conflict of interest. Now remember, after the RFP was released, we're sitting here waiting for a consultant to be hired and a furniture package to be released because that's what it says in the RFP. We didn't hear anything, so we emailed Rob Meza. And I had Jennifer Christmas, our director of sales, email Rob. Here's that email exchange. This is Jennifer to Rob, and I provided this to the school board, and I have it if you'd like it. Thanks, Rob. We look forward to be included on the furniture bid. Rob to Jennifer, and now he includes Dave Dreidel. Jennifer, there won't necessarily be a bid. Now, I just got to stop here. That RFP states over and over and over that furniture will be a separate process. A separate process. You are going to pay a consultant, and they are going to pick themselves and sell you furniture. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to anyone? The fact that somebody would even think of saying that out loud and pretending that that's okay is ridiculous. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that this is what's being said. Response. Oh, he said, we can use state contract or piggyback off an allowable contract. I believe the vendor's winning the RFP will assist in that, right, Dave? Talking to Dave Dreidel. This is Dave's answer. That is correct. No explanation, nothing. A 3-word answer on a $2 million project. A 3-word answer. I'm starting to get the hint that people don't want me to know what's going on. I responded, good morning, Dave and Rob. Hope you had a nice weekend. Would you mind explaining Rob's statements in a bit more detail? I'm not sure I fully understand. Thank you. Rob Meza. Those are the options the district has per policy for purchasing. Please call me. So I don't like it when people take important conversations offline, but I wanted an answer, so I called him. he explained to me that they will be procuring furniture through the consultant. I brought it up, the obvious conflict of interest, and that I found it very difficult to believe that consultant could properly abide by the RFP requirements to oversee their own activities. With no concern from him, they had no problem with it. They were having none of it. They just dismissed me. Suddenly, behind closed doors, this consultant RFP was to be magically transformed into a $2 million furniture award to a Syracuse vendor, who would also be being paid for the services, okay? Once again, the administration found a way to use their vendor. Call it what you want, it's troubling, and literally every single person I discussed it with feels the same way that I do. As Rob explained in the email when defending his decision to purchase without a bid, we can use state contract, and that's true. School districts do it all the time. Pricing from New York State contract is fixed. Every vendor has exactly the same price. Doesn't matter if you go to Syracuse or if you come to Rome, the pricing is exactly the same. So what most school districts do is they use New York State contracts to push the business toward qualified local vendors. Makes sense, right? Hey, we've got a guy here, we've got a company here, they've been in business for 27 years. They've done 150 to 200 school projects. Why don't we use our local vendor? If we don't have to get a bid, why are we sending that? Why are we sending that to Syracuse? I don't understand. Well, this exact situation happened a few years ago at Stroud. I spoke to somebody there, and he told me that that vendor has some special qualifications. It's a ridiculous assertion. We've done over 200 K-12 projects and are actively working on 40 right now. In fact, right now, as we speak, the following projects today are almost at completion and will be delivered. Mayfield School District, Johnson City, Whitney Point, Garrison, Union, OEJS, Saranac, Whitehall, Hudson Falls, Mahopac, Red Hook, Maryland Noonan, West Argosies, South Colony, Beacon City, Rhinebeck. And that's just a list of what's happening today. We're not qualified. It's laughable. At least 3 of our projects have been made into national case studies, and 1 was featured in a national education publication. In addition to our K-12 work, we work every day with institutions like Cornell University, both in Ithaca and on Roosevelt Island at their new campus. Colgate University, Hamilton College, Syracuse University, 15 SUNY schools, including the brand new SUNY E-Tech building in Albany. Air Force Research Laboratory and IBM. We do quantum labs. May I finish my paragraph?
Yes.
We do quantum labs. We do architecturally integrated projects, and we build self-contained interior offices, which are as complicated as it gets. And somehow, this is the assertion that we're not qualified for a K-12 project in Rome, New York, is laughable. It's insulting, but it's laughable. Yeah. So Nick is going to finish this for me, and then we want to come out so I can show you
It's
where to
just gonna
start.
be him. Why don't we just let Rob finish? If he's just
We
gonna,
can't,
why
no.
won't we just yield, Nick has yielded his time to Rob? It would just make sense to do it that way. It'd probably be quicker for us too.
I'll be done in.
Are you
literally-
yielding your
Yeah,
time to him? Okay.
Thank you. Another reason.
You're welcome, Nick.
Thank you, guys. Another reason.
I did it more for Nick than you.
Oh, wait, Nick covered me, I get too emotional, so I know he was gonna come up here and calm down. Another reason we've heard we might, why we don't get selected is that we might not have a wide variety of products. But virtually every K-12 manufacturer included on New York State contract is available to us. And unlike what happened at Stroud, where you purchased open market products without setting them to bid, we won't allow that to happen. We have enough product on New York State contract that you can actually follow the regulations and order everything off New York State contract. Maybe it's experience. Your team that we would give you would have 4 people on it. A project manager with 26 years at ROI, an installation manager with 25 years, an interior designer with 10 years, and an operations manager with 10 years. We have an in-house commercial interior design department, our own installation department, our own trucks, our own warehouses right here in Rome. We're one of the largest commercial furniture dealers in upstate New York, and we have service hubs in Albany, Syracuse, Ithaca, and our headquarters here in Rome. Maybe it's our service model you're questioning. In the RFP, it talks about procuring samples. But when you work with ROI, you don't procure samples. All samples are free all the time. You want a sandbox for the teachers to test the furniture, look at it, free. We bring the furniture to you, just like your other vendor would do, and it's free. But we take that a step further. We bring industry experts in to work with your faculty to determine what their needs are. Okay, one step further on projects of this size, because this is a big project and you have a lot of bargaining ability on this project. We'll take your committee to an experience center where actual learning spaces are set up, where they can meet with the furniture designers themselves for insight, and that's free. We'll give you a portal on our website for service requests, 24-hour response time guaranteed. We'll create a catalog for you with locations of each piece of furniture, ordering information for future purchases to keep your facilities consistent. That's free. Lastly, we extend the manufacturer's warranty to lifetime. You never have to pay for a repair on a piece of furniture for the life of that piece of furniture, no questions asked. Nobody else does that. We're right here in Rome, literally a quarter of a mile away from here. We've been doing this since 1995. And you know those services you're paying for? We do them for free. We do them forever for free. In 5 years, in 8 years, a teacher calls and says, we need this furniture redesigned in this classroom. It's free forever. And we've been doing that for 27 years. Oh, I know we're not qualified. You got this special vendor in Syracuse that does such a wonderful job. Maybe it's a local committee you want. Do you know that we pay $32,000 in school taxes? $32,000 in school taxes. 32,000 of our earnings are committed to the Rome City School District. I don't think your Syracuse vendor pays taxes here. Are they hiring your former students? Because we are. Are they involved in focus groups to assist the same underserved student population you are? Because we are. Are they involved in focus groups to assist the same underserved student population you're serving? We are. Are they on multiple economic development boards in Rome? Are they involved in raising money for education and healthcare? When you have a project like this, it allows small businesses like ours to compensate our people better, hire more Romans, and generally improve the economic condition for our community. Sending the money to Syracuse does none of that. I think Syracuse is doing fine by themselves without our help, honestly. So please ask yourself, why did this consultant services RFP suddenly transform into a furniture award behind closed doors? Why, if you have a proven qualified vendor locally who has superior service model, offers all free service, goes above and beyond anything you're receiving now, would you make this effort to send the project to Syracuse, especially because the pricing is guaranteed to be the same? Why, if your administration recognizes that the furniture can be awarded on New York State contract without bidding, would you use that back to move the money out of Rome instead of keeping it here? I can't see any reason that this benefits the children or the taxpayers of Rome. Do the right thing, separate the furniture award from the services RFP the way it was intended to be before it was magically transformed into this gift of a $2 million project. Avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest and use your right as your own district assistant superintendent said, to use the state contract to award the furniture package to a local vendor. Thank you for your time.
That's right. Okay. Next speaker is not Nick. Chris Sturries.
Sir, you just made me want to learn everything I can and more about the furniture industry. That's the level of passion that is very impressive, sir.
Thank you.
Chris Sturries, and I am here as a community member, also as a teacher in the district. I'm also the vice president of the Rome Teachers Association, but the president-elect for as of July 1st. And I wanted to speak about redistricting. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak and also for all of the time and the effort that you have put into this process. I know that the reason that it is so difficult and time consuming is because you care about the process and you care about doing it right. So I appreciate that. As I was listening to the very passionate, what is your last name again, sir?
Angela Cola.
Angela Cola. Nice to meet you. As I was listening to him speak and speak with such passion about our community and being a local business and trying to keep things in-house, it kind of made me reflect a little bit on the whole redistricting process in general. And I want to say that I hope that in the future, when we're moving towards these types of big decisions, that the stakeholders that are the most directly impacted, who are the most knowledgeable about it, are brought into the process sooner rather than later. I appreciate the time that has been given to communicate with the teachers and speak to the teachers about redistricting. But I can't help be a little concerned about the fact that we have consultants that came in from New Jersey who were afforded more time and attention and information than the people who are the very people in the trenches in this district. So that in the future, if these types of large decisions are going to be made, that the teachers be brought to the table sooner rather than later. My second point that I want to make is that as the RTA, I know I sent an email to the board members to this effect, but I want to make sure it's very clear publicly as well, that the RTA is not going to support any program or proposal that is going to dismantle our community schools. We will not support the idea of having our Denty and Bellamy elementaries being changed into 5-6 buildings. It's simply not something we're going to support. So we're here to support the community, the idea of the community schools, as Mr. Blake talked about in the proposal, the whole community schools movement, which was initially an RTA AFT collaboration to get the ball rolling with a grant process to try to provide all of our community schools with the necessary resources for our kids. That's something that's very important to us. It's important to the community. And we feel that that community schools model is very important. So we are for a proposal that will protect our community schools to the greatest degree possible. We will not support something that dismantles our community schools. Thank you.
Okay. Dennis Perfetti.
Well, Rob, I came here, part of it was for you, but you did an excellent job. I've had experience with Rob. My former employer was Davidson Chevrolet. Rob Corral Furniture. Had a problem with the desk. Called at 4 o'clock on Tuesday night. They beat me to the store on Wednesday morning. So you got no shot. The old board we used to call Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Looks like it might be fitting on this one too. Mr. Haggerty, I'm sorry that you're not running again. I've reached out to some people who know you, and I was told that the reason Mr. Haggerty is running, and whether this is true or not, you don't have to say, is he doesn't like the direction of the board. Well, guess what? You're not alone. Either does the general public in the city of Rome. We don't like it. You guys are a joke. That's what you are. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I got a phone call and a text message from somebody who works inside this district. They were in this building and they explained to me about a beratement that our president and our illustrious vice president gave our superintendent. Now, anybody knows me and Peter have never been on the same page. Am I correct? We've had our go-arounds, but you know what? I came to a board meeting. I've been to a lot of them. Sorry I missed the other one because I heard that was really a show where you had a consultant that you brought in rolling his eyes because a board member was screaming at everybody. I don't know who it was. But anyway, they decided they were going to berate the superintendent in his office. And this person who was here on nondescript business heard it and said, and I quote, "I was never so embarrassed to work for this district in my life." That's the reputation you guys have. That is it. I had a conversation with a school board member a couple of weeks ago, and I had to have everything double-fied for me because I didn't really understand what he was saying. That's not the truth. I may not have a fancy degree hanging on a wall, but you know what? I'm no dummy. I didn't have an opportunity to go to college. My father died when I was 7 years old. When I got out of RFA, you know what I did? I went and pumped gas at Kosher Brothers. but I successfully put 38 years in the car business. Okay, so it's not all about a degree, and not all of us are done because we don't follow your plan. Here's what you need to do. The 4 people that are running, their signs are all over Rome. Put them in them chairs. Put them in them chairs. Because if you're going to continue with this board, you are in so much trouble. It's not even funny. You ask a question, nobody can answer it. Why not? We're the ones who are paying the taxes. We're on the hook for everything. Why not? $32,000 a year in taxes, and you don't want to give him a project? Sounds to me like maybe somebody's pockets might be getting greased a little bit. I'm just saying, that's the way it looks from the Italian side of everything. Because there's no reason for this kid not to get that contract. None whatsoever, except the holier than thou nine made a decision that you weren't worthy because you live in Rome. It's an embarrassment. You ought to be ashamed of the way you represent this community.
Okay, next speaker is Bill Guglielmo.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. My name is Bill Guglielmo. I'm speaking tonight as president of the Rome Chamber of Commerce. Hope you can hear me. One of those allergy things.
It's like a bottle of water. Bill.
Oh, I'm fine, thanks, Joe. All of you know the Chamber of Commerce organizes and presents, in cooperation with the district, the mentoring program for elementary school students who may need a little extra help as determined by the administration. More than 70 volunteers spend time with students once a week for several months. The Chamber is also the organization that presents the Career and Job Fair for high school students at Rome Free Academy, where they meet with local business representatives and learn about the types of skills employers are looking for. We are a business organization concerned about workforce development and the health and well-being of the business community. The Chamber is also the organization that, with the City of Rome, organizes and presents Rome's annual Honor America Day celebration on the last Saturday in July. All of you are aware of the parade, the symphony concert, and the fireworks at Fort Stanwix. It's a $60,000 budget. We have to raise funds each year to pay for the entertainment, the promotion, and all things associated with putting on an event of that magnitude. Where does the money come from? Business people, employers, people who voluntarily donate thousands of dollars each year because they believe that promoting our heritage, patriotism, community pride, and the quality of life we share in Rome is important. We are advocates for Rome, and more specifically, for our businesses. We saw that one of our members, ROI, Office Interiors, has a concern about how you are conducting business, and he issued a public statement. I'm here this evening hoping the situation can be resolved in a mutually beneficial manner, so a decision that is positive for both parties, including the taxpayers, can be reached. If the Chamber can help in any way and be involved to help to reach that end, we would gladly participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
We just finished, Rob.
Okay, we shall move on to the consent agenda. It's on pages 2 through 4. Resolutions to accept consent agenda. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, consent agenda be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Malachi. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Carried.
Yeah, she can't vote. Alina, I don't know that you can vote. You have to be in, it has to be in person, unfortunately.
Okay.
Thank you for the effort.
I tried.
Thank you for the eye.
Okay, on to page 6, the regular agenda. Finance. Action item number 1. Resolution to accept change orders 2019 capital improvement project. Whereas the Board of Education of the Rome City School District, the Board of Education previously authorized its 2019 capital improvement project, And whereas during the course of the project, certain changes to the work covered by various contracts have been determined by LaBella Associates, DPC, the project architect, to be required. And whereas the project architect and the involved contractors will prepare, sign, and submit proposed change orders for the following work. Kelly Brothers, PCO-01, CNS change event 066, material changes to door hardware, 40,584.96. And whereas the Board of Education has determined that it is in the best interest of the school district to approve the proposed changes and accept the proposed change orders. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the Board of Education approves the changes set out in this resolution. 2, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the president of the board to sign the change orders on behalf of the Board of Education and take all actions necessary or convenient to proceed under the contracts as amended by the change orders in connection with the project. 3, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to sign the New York State Education Department required certification in connection with each change order and take all actions necessary or convenient to satisfy applicable change order certification and filing requirements. 4, upon Board of Education approval, this resolution shall take effect immediately. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Malachi. Any discussion?
Just so folks are reminded, this is, there's a change in the style of door being used. The doors throughout the district are wood. In our high traffic areas at RFA, the gymnasium and the cafeteria, we're installing metal doors with a wood veneer finish, so they look the same, but they're stronger, more durable. In any given year, we go through at least 1 to 2 doors in the gym because of baseball, softball. They shatter the doors pretty quickly, and the cafeteria gets a lot of use. So just upgrading the door, that's the cost. They will look the same, but they'll be a different material. All the RFA
All
project.
RFA.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 2, resolution to appointment of election inspectors. Resolved that the following individual is appointed as election inspector for 10 school election districts, which shall align with the Rome City of Rome election wards, be appointed for the Rome City School District Board of Education election /budget/capital reserve vote to be held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022, or on any legally authorized date thereafter, and that they be paid for the service, with the superintendent of schools or his designee being authorized to fill any vacancies and make vocation assignments. And this is for Gladys Lindsay. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Lubeck. Any discussion? Okay, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 3, resolution to renew contract for 2022-2023 fire alarm services. Resolved that the contract as indicated below, in accordance with plans and specifications, duly advertised and bid received for bid number 2021-06-02, be renewed for the 2022-2023 term, and that the president be authorized to sign said contract. Contract is for fire alarm services awarded to REM Fire Systems, Inc., 206 South George Street, Rome, New York. And the bid amount is references individual breakdown. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hagerty. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Action item number 4, resolutions to renew contract 2022-2023 roofing services. Resolved that the contract is indicated below in accordance with plans and specifications duly advertised and bid received for bid number 2021-06-16-1 be renewed for 2022-2023 term, and that the president be authorized to sign said contract. Contract is for roofing services awarded to Lawrence Reben and Sons Incorporated, 357 Oriskany Boulevard, Whitesboro, New York, 13492. I move the resolution.
Second.
And by Mr. Hagerty. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Under committee reports. Audit and Finance Committee met this past Tuesday. The Audit Committee, we had a resignation of a member, Cindy Yeager, resigned from the community member. And on this agenda, there's a replacement resolution for her replacement. There was nothing else that we did with the Audit Committee. On the Finance Committee, we talked about the RFP for the furniture, fixtures and equipment, consultant services. And it is not awarding the equipment to this vendor, this consultant. So that's coming down the line. But we've been told that it wouldn't be the same vendor. So we can discuss that more later. We talked about things we just passed, the fire alarm services and the roofing services. There are some amendments to the Health Insurance Consortium Municipal Cooperative Agreement that it'll be discussion with the whole board to discuss to see if we agree with those amendments or not. Dave Drydo updated us on the state aid review. Things are looking like pretty much what we budgeted for are coming to fruition. And last thing was the treasurer's reports. We have February's and March should be done pretty soon. And our next meeting is Tuesday, June 7th. 10 a.m. Facilities, Mr. Haggard.
Yes, facilities met on the 26th of April. It's pretty interesting meeting. And try to discuss everything, but I'll just run through the agenda. We talked about the capital projects, which is one of the things that we just voted on, and including an update to the energy performance contracts, which were a part of that initial project. In addition, the initial planning for the new capital projects that was voted on in March of this year has started, and they've got some outlines of phasing and whatnot that in preparation for going forward with a plan to state education department for approval. They talked briefly about the long-range facility plan, which is a requirement that we're addressing, came out of the comptroller's audit, and we'll be hearing more about that in the near future. They're going to be doing some retro commissioning, all this work that's been going on at RFA, in particular at pool, and with the heating systems requires somebody to come back in and verify that everything's operating up to spec, and that's got to be somebody different than the contractors that worked on it. So our architectural firm has that capability, and they're going to be doing that in the future. We talked about a few additional things, and our next meeting is currently scheduled for the 10th of May. Is the pool open? I think it is.
No,
It is.
no, we still have to retro commission the mechanicals. It's running, but we're still waiting to make sure the mechanicals are all sound and ready to go.
Thank
Do you
you.
think it'll be before year end? I know you had mentioned.
We're
that.
still planning on doing an out of season invitational
Okay.
and inviting 5 to 7 schools to come compete, co-ed invitational, male, female, simultaneous. It may end up being seniors only for our seniors and seniors from other schools to swim against each other one time, but we do intend to have something in the pool for both the girls and boys team. Hopefully the whole team, because definitely the graduates, but hopefully the whole team.
Great, thank you, Peter.
It's
Thanks.
beautiful there. They did a good job.
Oh,
Okay,
when was that next meeting? I'm sorry, I missed that.
next Tuesday, 10th.
Oh.
Next week.
Okay.
Educational programs, Dr. Fontana.
Oh, we have an action item tonight. Resolution to approve the APPR lead evaluators. So resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that the following individuals have completed the lead evaluator training required by section 3012D of the education law and related regulations, and is certified to serve as lead evaluator under the district's annual professional performance review plan. The names is listed below with name, title, and building is on page 8. I move the resolution.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Lubecki. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
All right, our next meeting is coming up May 9th. So
Right around the corner.
right around the corner.
Thank you, Dr. Fontana. People operations, Mr. Malachi.
Thank you. Action items. Number one, resolution to appoint non-instructional personnel. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following non-instructional personnel. Gail Williamson, teacher aide 1-1, salary $15,695, effective date April 25, 2022. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Ms. McGurl. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
Number two, resolution to appoint non-instructional personnel probationary. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following non-instructional personnel probationary. Gregory Davis, district-wide float. What's HP?
Home base.
Home base RFA. Custodial work, second shift Monday through Friday, $16.03 per hour, effective date May 2nd, 2022 through 11/1/22, and Troy Squadrito. Looks like same shift and salary and location, effective date 5/2/22 through 11/1/22. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
Action item 3, resolution to appoint summer school administrator. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following summer school administrator, Kristen Frawley, salary of $8,200, effective date May 6, 2022, and move the resolution.
I'll second it as well.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Discussion? Is that salary per contract? Mr. Blake?
It's per, is it a contract or is it through BOCES, Chris? That's the four, she's special ed or 4-4-4. That's.
Oh, that'll be through
She's,
the.
that's for learning, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so that's
I believe
contract.
program.
Thank you. Any further discussion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
Action item 4, resolution to approve transfers. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following staff transfers as listed in the agenda at page 10. Action item 4, I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Any discussion? Are these for purpose pick day, were they these were just?
No, we are currently finishing the secondary selection day process. I think Friday concludes that. The elementary selection day process will kick off at the end of May, and that will run for 2 weeks. And once that's completed, we will put all transfers on at the same time at the end of May,
Okay.
or end of June, sorry.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Action item 5, resolution to accept retirements. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby accepts with regret the retirement of the following individuals: Tammy Smith, food service helper at Ridge Mills, effective date June 27, 2022. Andrew Thompson, Director of Transportation, effective date July 23, 2022. And John Meeker Senior, custodial worker at Denti, effective date August 31, 2022. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? Want to thank them for their service,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
a lot of experience there. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
That's retired.
Yeah. Action item 6, resolution to appoint musical staff. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following musical staff: Liska Savage at RFA, co-stage manager, salary of $500, effective date April 25, 2022. I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Lubecki. Any discussion?
Just for reference, they had a last minute resignation for a stage manager right before the show started, so they plugged
Sure.
him in at the last minute.
Okay. Glad they could step up.
We need those musicals. It was a
Yeah,
great
that was
show.
an awesome show. Yeah, that was, I thought I was on Broadway, to be honest with you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Action item 7, resolution to appoint CPSE chair. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following individual as CPSE chair: Christopher Wheel, school psychologist. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Action item 8, resolution to create positions. Resolved that upon the recommendation of superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby creates the following position: school psychologist district-wide, orientation and mobility specialist district-wide. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Any discussion? And
Would you like me to
This-
explain
yeah,
orientation
please,
mobility?
please,
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
Okay, so orientation mobility specialist, very different title. That is a civil service title, which will lead to the teacher of the visually impaired. Our teacher that did service students of the visually impaired left the district recently. We have found somebody, ironically, it's very rare to find someone that can do that job. However, they are coming from Florida and they do not have New York State certification. So the orientation mobility specialist is the same job under the civil service title.
Mhm.
So we were able to hire them under civil service while they work on getting their state teaching certification. And then they can hop over and become the teacher of the visually impaired whenever that day comes.
Very good, thank you.
Can you explain how that's gonna save the district a little bit of money as well? That was. something
Sure,
we
so that's
discussed the first
actually, that'll save us a considerable amount of money. In the past, our TVI teacher was a full-time special educator, did the TVI services as an additional cost to their contract. On an annual basis, the overtime cost was substantial. Anything that teacher couldn't do, we had to contract out to another agency to cover for the students. In total cost for the year, those services historically run between $140,000 and $160,000 a year. A single employee will be in the ballpark of probably 60,000. So we'll see a net benefit with a net gain of with benefits of about $70,000 to $80,000.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And action item 9, resolution to amend position hours. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby amends the following position hours: school district clerk from 100% to 60%, effective date May 6, 2022. And move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Lebecki. Any discussion?
I'll talk about this in the committee report a little bit. so.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, so we had a meeting on May 2nd of the People Operations Committee, and
We broke a record for length.
yeah, in the wrong direction. But it was a very helpful meeting. Obviously, we had a guest that came in, and it was the new director of supported learning, Kristen Mataya, and she kind of opened our eyes quite a bit about what she's been doing recently, and the burden that the school psychologists presently are handling, and how it's overwhelming, and something that we need to address quickly, which is why we had that resolution added. I think it was number 8 to appoint a district-wide school psychologist. We had wanted to wait to determine the structure of the supported learning program until after the director was appointed. So that was part of the reason why she came in, to kind of give us an idea of where she wanted to go with that. And I think that, she had indicated that she was looking for 3 assistant directors and I think 3 psychologists. And while we were hoping to give her everything that she wanted fiscally, I don't know that it was something that we could do, but we were able to hit on a structure that does call for, I think, the hiring of an interim director right now to help with all the current workload that is being shared among the psychologists in the district, as well as Kristen taking on a lot of tasks that the director normally wouldn't do, but she has to because there's no one there to help her. So we're going to be doing that right away. There's psychologists presently missing at Clough and Stroud. Not to say that they don't have any psychologists there, but they're the quota that are normally there and taking on the numbers. They're understaffed. So those 2 positions are positions that we're hoping to fill. So we hit upon 2 assistant directors, and I think two plus the 1. There was a psychologist position that was already available, but it was vacant, right? So we have 3 psychologists coming in. Did they describe it
No,
right?
we decided on
Two.
2.
Well, it was 2 new ones plus filling the old position, right?
No,
One
we only
new,
did
one old.
1 new, 1 old, and we were
Because everyone's
pending.
waiting
Because
to be
there's
Can we
counted.
get grant funding? We were looking to get, so the cluster was open. And then they asked to add the district wide, and Joe, I hope you don't mind if I had, help me with that
Yeah, no,
district wide pieces.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, there was a lot of notes.
There's a
It
lot
was
of
a
notes
long
that I
meeting.
took, so I might have.
So we have about 1,500 students in the district with IEPs, and about 255 of those are not assigned to a building. They might be a alternative ed BOSI student, they might be a homeschooled student or something else.
So freeing up that district-wide float means that a psychologist that's assigned to a specific building isn't being pulled into district office to try to do those additional 250. It will be dedicated to those students. So I think those numbers were eye-opening for
Yeah,
everyone
they
that
certainly were,
attended.
because it was, historically, it's been a pretty low number, and now it's probably tripled or quadrupled.
Right,
in
that
number.
number's grown.
Yeah, so that was something that, you know, we want to try to provide relief to her in the short term, and then, you know, provide enough bodies for her to have success in the long term. So there may be resolutions that you see coming up that will address those as well in the short term. As far as the district clerk goes, you know, we had very limited interest in the position, and there was some talk that there's persons that are already working within the district that would be interested in taking on some of the duties of the district clerk. Given the fact that even though we've kind of moved this around in terms of what the position is going to look like, whether it's going to be a 40%, 60%, 100%, we've tried many different variations to try to attract qualified candidates, and just hasn't materialized. So in order to try to accommodate the people that are interested within the district to take on some of those duties, we moved it to a 60% so that those duties can be shared, I believe, between a couple of interested persons. Did I summarize that correctly?
Close.
Okay.
There's a possibility there could be an individual.
Okay.
And if there's not a possibility of an individual, we'll go back to plan A,
Okay.
which was split it between two people.
We're gonna get there.
Right. So beyond that, as you can see, there was a lot of different things that were discussed. It went on for a couple of hours, and Shelley put together some pretty great notes. So anything that I missed, which I'm doing my best trying not to jumble up, you can go back and look at those minutes. And our next meeting, I believe, is Monday, May 16th at 4:30. So anyone that's interested in coming, we always have a great time at those meetings.
Thank you, Ms. Malachi. Policy, Ms. Davis.
Action item 1, resolution to accept the second reading and adoption of policy 1220, relations with community organizations. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the second reading and adoption of policy 1220, relations with community organizations, be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Malachi. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Action item 2, resolution to accept the first reading of policy 1530, smoking, vaping, and other tobacco use on school premises. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of policy 1530, smoking, vaping, and other tobacco use on school premises be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Lubecky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Action item 3, resolution to accept the first reading of policy number 1925, interpreters for hearing impaired parents. That resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of policy 1925, interpreters for hearing impaired parents, be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Action item 4, resolution to accept the first reading of exhibit 1925E, interpreters for hearing impaired parents. Exhibit. Resolved that upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of exhibit 1925E, interpreters for hearing impaired parents, be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Malachi. Any discussion? All in favor?
That just to let people, so everyone saw the exhibit, that's the application notifying us if either an entering kindergartner or a new student to the district would have a parent who would require interpreting services. And that's how,
And then it would remain on file. They don't.
right, they wouldn't have
Do
to,
every
they wouldn't
year.
have to repeat it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Action item 5, resolution to accept the first reading of policy 1500, public use of school facilities. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of policy 1500, public use of school facilities, be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? I think you're setting a record, Karen.
I think that I am. I'm
All in favor,
working on
say
it.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Action item number 6, resolution to accept the first reading of exhibit 1500-E, 8.1, public use of school facilities exhibit, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of exhibit 1500-E.1, public use of school facilities exhibit be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Malachi.
Sorry, Karen.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Resolution to accept the first reading of exhibit 1500-E.2, public use of school facilities fee schedule exhibit. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the first reading of exhibit 1500-E.2, public use of school facilities fee schedule exhibit be accepted by the Board of Education. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
We've had an excellent, made some excellent progress in moving forward, almost wrapping up that 1,000 series. I think we've had some very meaningful discussions and we've been able to do a lot of work to consolidate our manual, which is very helpful so that it's not cumbersome and that we're enacting meaningful policy that can be readily read and interpreted and utilized by our faculty, staff, and students. We did receive sections 2,000 and 3,000, so we'll be moving into those next. And I'm going to ask my favorite question, Mr. Blake.
Let us know.
Talking about board docs.
No, nothing about board docs. Haven't heard anything from anybody.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna schedule a meeting.
No.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss.
I knew what she was gonna ask.
I did.
I did too. I just thought it was
She
gonna
hasn't
blow
missed
out.
one yet.
My mind is on executive session. I thought we were gonna blow right through this thing and go have some sleep with a mile, but I guess not.
Okay. So next week, we already
Because
have
you're men.
a Monday, a Tuesday. Anyone, Wednesday, the 11th? Do we have anything on Wednesday? I don't have.
Hold on, Tanya. It's
Yeah,
something
I can't
every day.
make the 11th.
Yeah, I can't. even-
I'm gonna pass on the 11th. It's my
Oh, I'm
son's
not even in
birthday.
this.
No.
Okay, let's go to the following week then. Let me get out of.
We have 18.
I'm
we have
free at
some-
5 a.m. on the 11th.
No,
Me
my
too.
Son's birthday.
How about you guys do it after?
I'm not.
5
gonna-
a.m.
5 a.m.
You
How about
need
we
me
do-
at
I
10
understand,
just like
I'm
she's
not
running.
free.
I'm good 5 a.m. any day. Let's do it.
Could we do Monday? Do you guys prefer a separate day or do you prefer we back it up to another one? Because we could do Monday. No, Monday the 16th is people out.
Right.
Monday the 23rd? There's no ed programs, right?
Nope.
Okay, Monday the 23rd at 4:30?
Okay.
Going once, going twice?
Wait, is that gonna possibly be a,
Oh, is that Memorial?
is that,
No,
no, is that
No.
possibly a people operations day?
No, the 16th is.
No,
You're the 16th.
no, okay, all right.
23 at 4:30. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, the only other thing I wanted to mention is I want to thank Mr. Morton. They've moved forward on, they're having 3 meetings to review the code of conduct. I was not able to attend the first because it was during the day, but there is a committee moving forward with that. So all of you should start reading your drafts because it's going to be a long document to have to approve. If you still need it, let Mr. Morton give it to you.
Okay. Miscellaneous business. Number 1, resolution to accept resignation. Resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Cynthia Yeager as the community member of the 2021-2022 Rome City School District Audit Committee. I move the resolution.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Fontana.
I know.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 2, resolution to appoint committee member. Resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints Jennifer Geiger as the community member for the 2021-2022 Rome City School District Audit Committee. I move the resolution.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Malloy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And you've got all our information, so they can. Everything.
Yeah. I can read the resolution.
Yeah, please.
Miscellaneous business, action item 3, resolution to approve settlement agreement and release, whereas the Rome City School District, hereinafter referred to as the school district, was a party to an agreement with Bernie Bus Service Incorporated, hereinafter Bernie Bus, to provide student transportation services during the 2019-2020 school year, hereinafter referred to as the contract, and whereas during the 2019-20 school year, COVID-19 resulted in state and county governments declaring a state of emergency. And whereas on March 16, 2020, the New York State Governor ordered pursuant to Executive Order number 202.4, the closure of schools for students statewide for a period of 2 weeks ending April 1, 2020. And whereas the New York State Governor issued additional executive orders resulting in the closure of schools through May 7, 2020. And whereas due to the closure of schools, Bernie Bus ceased providing student transportation services to the school district beginning March 16, 2020 through May 7, 2020, and continue to incur standby operational costs to be prepared to provide student transportation services in anticipation for schools reopening. And whereas the New York State education law changes enacted as part of the final 2021-2022 state budget expanded the eligibility of certain COVID-related transportation expenditures incurred during the 2019-20 school year for state reimbursement through transportation aid, including state reimbursement for certain payments to contractors for standby costs incurred between March 16, 2020 through May 7, 2020. And whereas Bernie Bus and the school district have negotiated terms to reimburse Bernie Bus in connection with standby operational costs between March 16, 2020 through May 7, 2020, to the extent such payment is reimbursable to the school district via state aid. And whereas the Board of Education has considered the terms of a proposed settlement agreement and seeks to approve the same, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Rome City School District as follows. 1, the board hereby approves the proposed settlement agreement between the school district and Bernie Bus in a final form to be approved by legal counsel, and authorizes the school district superintendent or his designee to take all necessary action and to execute any necessary documents on behalf of the Board of Education upon the recommendation of legal counsel necessary to effectuate, finalize the same. 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately. I move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Dr. Fontana. Any discussion?
Can I just, I don't know, if I ask one clarifying question, does the legal matter?
Depends.
I just wanted
You
to,
can ask it, depends if I can answer. it.
right, can you clarify the May 7th date and why it's not the end of that school year, June? Is that just the time the state?
I believe that's the length of time that the state is saying you can pay and get reimbursed. Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any old business?
I just want to point out that I did receive an email from NISBA regarding next year's, this fall's upcoming advocacy items. So I don't know if there's anyone who had thought about it. It was a lengthy meeting this year. It was my first time involved. But if there's someone who's considering becoming that advocate, I'd be happy to show you this past year's folder. And I think it's important that in the upcoming year, when we do the calendar, that we do schedule some time for the board as a committee of the whole to make it better, a more collective determination
On those items.
of those items before they go to vote. So the voting happens in October. If we are back to an in-person conference, NISBA conference, that we appoint at our reorg a delegate and a secondary and alternate. But I was able to get so much better of an understanding of it this year, and it was held virtually, but it would, I believe, be in person with a possible
I think it's
virtual
Syracuse
option.
this
It's
year.
in Syracuse.
It's in Syracuse
It is in
this year.
person next year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Must
but
have bought them.
it was like,
I
yeah,
doubt it.
right.
It's in
Must-
Syracuse.
Barring no unexpected things for
That's
the
true.
fall, we are supposed to have a New York State School Board Conference, and those advocacy items are valuable and important, and whatever are voted on remain intact for 5 years. So they're important items that municipal lobbies on behalf of districts. So that email is available if anyone, did everybody get it?
I think so.
So you can feel free to brush up on what they're planning to advocate for next year.
Okay. Anything else? I'd like to, we got to try to schedule a redistricting meeting. Because it's getting late.
It's getting late.
We know
I'm
next,
free at 5 a.m.
we know next week's not, we know
Me
next week's
too.
not any good, so.
Yeah, it's gotta be when sports season is over. We have 3 games. 3 scheduled games.
I'm good 25th or 26th.
When is Memorial Weekend?
That weekend.
That weekend.
Following weekend, yeah.
At a board meeting on the 26th. No, we don't.
No,
It's
I
the
don't even have
18th.
that. No,
Oh, because it's the
18th.
18th because of the
We only
election.
have
With the election thing.
I could do 25.
could do the 25th.
25th.
I can't do the
25th at 6 o'clock.
The 26th. I can do 20. I would.
26th.
I can
Is
do
that
either- I can do either one.
Yeah, 26th.
26th it is.
26th?
It's the
Are you
26th
going
better?
anywhere?
No, I just get up for the gym so early.
Okay, so 26th.
Yeah, let's do it. At 5, you said? Or 6, okay.
That's what we do.
Is that gonna be
Are we gonna do it at the library? Is
in
it,
person in the
is it
library?
just us? Is it?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we don't know yet, yeah.
So 5/26 at 6. Location to be determined.
Mhm.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
26? 26.
26 at 6.
5 AM.
Here.
That just made me think of.
All right. Please, that's the one. Oh, yeah. Everything's in here too. It's just-
Yes, I did. She said thank you.
Oh, my email.
You know how to do it?
Why?
Oh, you can't. Oh, no.
Rob, thank you.
Hi.